this is a cool thing, and I'll share it with whoever wants to. This is a super cool little form that I used. And it has formulas in it too. So these are all the different steps of building your pool. So there's pre-grade. Pre-grade just means that if you have a bunch of trees, or if you have like a little, just any previous landscaping, we had some like rock laid out for that to get, what subcontractor is going to get rid of that. Layout is where they pretty much just spray paint the outline. And then you have excavation of bulk equipment, but there's all of these, and I'll go through these a little bit more thoroughly in just a bit. But you could put, here's the little 3 lines. You could add more if you have more. And then you could put, what their name is, what their bid amount is. And then whenever you put right here who you chose and you put the amount there, then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it adds it all up for you.
Oh,
so you
nice.
can put.
What's up, MOMnation? It is Thursday, and you know what Thursday means? Well, not every Thursday, but many Thursdays out of the month. It means it's Live and Learn Day. And I love Live and Learn because it's a quick show. It's like, 20 minutes or whatever it is, or for however long we want to talk, right, Sonia? And it's typically with an awesome mama member, just like we have today, Sonia with Team EvoAZ, that has a skill to share, or has some specialized knowledge to share, or something that you can actually walk away from this video and implement right away. And I am so excited about today, because for those of you, you may not know, I haven't really talked about this very much because it's all very new. It just kind of came. But I am starting on our personal pool build for our new house. Well, it's not really our new house anymore, since I've been living here almost 2 years now. Crazy. What's that?
It's been 2 years. That's crazy.
Insanity. Like November 5th, which is actually my dad's birthday, which is funny, marks the second year, or the year 2, because we bought on November 5th.
That's Austin's birthday.
Really?
Yes.
It's the parallels. They just keep coming and coming, huh, Sonia? So again, super excited. Thank you so much for being with us today, Sonia. I love talking with you. I love having you on. I love our little show, Make Dollars Make Sense, that we do. And so super excited to have you here today to talk about something that I am really interested in. And I know that there's a lot of mamas out there that have either considered building a pool, or might be getting ready to do that, and have probably considered doing it themselves as well, but maybe just didn't know where to start, or maybe just didn't know, hey, is that really a good idea? Should I be doing this? So I'm super stoked, because you're like a veteran in this, right?
I have, yeah. This is my 3rd pool over
Wow.
the one since 2017. So yeah.
So you just finished your 3rd pool that you've built for yourself. Like, you don't do this for clients or anything. Like, you do this for yourself.
No, but I would love to.
Yes. Do we have a consultation business in the works here?
I would love to. I mean, I just love the process so much. So it's just, it's super fun.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, real quick, your story, and then you're going to dive into a couple of things. Obviously, the process. You've got some, because you've done it a few times now, you probably have some tips, like things to do and things not to do. And then what everybody else always wants to know is, how can I save some money?
Yeah. Well, so I got into this because I love construction. I grew up in construction, seeing things from finish to end, and knowing that you had an extra big part in that it's just awesome to be part of that. So that's why I did it the first time. It's not for everybody. It takes some love, but but it is fun, and you're extra involved, and you can be extra picky, and most of all, you could save some money. So when
I love that, and I hate to interrupt you, but I'm going to do that a lot. And I just want to point out something that you said that I think is really giant. When we come into projects like this, even buying a house, selling a house, working with real estate, building your wealth in real estate, it's not always a super smooth process. Like, I was just having this conversation with a client this morning. She's feeling kind of a little bit overwhelmed about, getting ready for the sales and the purchase process. And I'm like, babe, it's never, you have to expect that there are going to be obstacles. You have to expect that there's going to be things to overcome. You have to expect that there will be some hiccups along the way. And I think that if you set your expectations appropriately, it's a much more enjoyable experience.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it totally is. And even though this was my third time, there was a hiccup, and I'll share that with you later on. But because
I remember.
it was horrific. But the thing about it is, it's even the most seasoned pool builders, like actual pool companies, there's hiccups in the road. You can never predict what's going to happen. Everybody's home is different. And when I talk about everybody's home, is the land that it's built on is different. The subcontractors are different. But so whenever my husband and I decided to do the first one, he's like, "Are you sure you can do this?" And I was like super stoked. And when I first started, I just started real estate as well. So I was more part-time. So I had kind of some time on my hand, quite a bit of time on my hands. And so I was, we were just looking at it. And when we say build your own pool, like you're not out there with the shovel. Like it's pretty much what you're doing by building your own pool is what these pool companies do is they subcontract. So they hire different people for different phases of the pool build. And then they add a finder's fee, if you will, for finding them, for scheduling them, for overseeing them.
Kind of like a GC.
Yes, exactly. So that's pretty much what they do. So what I was going to do is I was going to take the role as pool builder, and I was going to subcontract everything itself. So a couple of things with that. So the first thing that you have to do is there's a couple different pool companies that help you build your own pool. One of which is called Build Your Own Pool. Super straightforward.
Oh, creative.
The first 2 times I did it, I went through Build Your Own Pool. They're super helpful for certain things. For certain other things, they're not. That's why I didn't go through them this last time. There's a couple other ones, I forget their names, but that you can use. Or what you can do is listen to this video and I can give you some cool tips and no strings attached. You guys could kind of double the water. And I love it so much that just, you could find my information on here and you can message me and I can help you guys out. But first thing to do is the fun part of designing your pool. So you want to see what it looks like, see if you could get some measurements down and just draw it out and go through what you would want in a pool. It doesn't have to be very specific. You'll get to those specifics down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll contact somebody who's a CAD drawer, they'll draw your pool. I met one that used to work with Build Your Own Pool and he doesn't anymore. And it was actually a lower cost to have him go through and draw my pool. And he puts all of the the specs on it. So I'll show that to you really quick.
So, and the purpose for this is so that it's to scale, right? So all the measurements are correct. And then when you get your next, which I'm sure you're going to talk about, when you get your next person, then you would submit these plans and they can read that, they can understand that. And
yes. Okay. So this is important for a couple of things. For that, yes. And then also you need to submit this to engineering to make sure that this pool is actually going to be built to spec. So every pool is different depending on where you are. Like my pool, so right here in the back, it says in the back where it says CMU wall, where these little things are, I have a 10-foot retaining wall. And so we were butting the pool up to that. And we just had to make sure that there was proper reinforcements that like it wouldn't make it like fall out.
Yeah,
so,
right. Imagine. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it would be pretty horrible. So so the guy who did this for me came up with this drawing and we went back and forth. This was like our 4th drawing. Originally our pool was set to be like over here to the left. Like it was going to be way bigger and it was just too big. So you go back and forth, once you finally settle on it, it has all these little words everywhere for people who are going to end up helping you work on your pool. And then right here, it has little notes for all of the different phases. So what you do at this point is you send this out after you get your engineering all done. You send the engineering and this pool plan out to all of your subcontractors. So there's a few places you could find, you could find subcontractors. The guy who did this for me had a lot of referrals on on all the different phases. From me doing this twice before, I had a good book of all the different people that did all the different subs. Now I would say get at least 3 of them, at least 3. This time around, I got about 5. And while all of that's in the work, then the guy who did this for me, he helped me submit to permitting. So you could go through all of the bids that you get after you email them, they send it back. You could sort through all of your bids. By the time you're picking who you want to go with, then your permit will be issued. And then you can kind of start. So what another fun thing, let me switch to this that I use. Let me see. This is a cool thing, and I'll share it with whoever wants to. This is a super cool little form that I used. And it has formulas in it too. So these are all the different steps of building your pool. So there's pre-grade. Pre-grade just means that if you have a bunch of trees, or if you have like a little, just any previous landscaping, we had some like rock laid out for that to get, what subcontractor is going to get rid of that. Layout is where they pretty much just spray paint the outline. And then you have excavation of bulk equipment, but there's all of these, and I'll go through these a little bit more thoroughly in just a bit. But you could put, here's the little 3 lines. You can add more if you have more. And then you could put, what their name is, what their bid amount is. And then whenever you put right here who you chose and you put the amount there, then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it adds it all up for you.
Oh,
so you
nice.
can, yeah. So, and this is all in sequence. So this is what goes first, and then here's all your last stuff. So yeah, so this is a pretty cool tool to have. So yeah. Please read reviews of people, read reviews, look up pictures. It's super important. The first time I did this, I went through it was rough. So you just want to make sure that you find the right person and really vet them out, make sure that they're licensed and they know what they're doing. They've done it a lot before, because when it comes to building a pool, it's super expensive to fix things if they're messed up.
Yeah.
And you're trying to save money. So, and that's one liability that you do take on, that a pool builder, like a big pool builder, takes on, is those kind of liabilities of getting those fixed. Now, if you find a licensed, licensed plumber or licensed electrician, they do have their warranties. So it's not like you're not getting any, but for a blanket warranty, you're kind of taking on being responsible for making sure that these people are doing what they need to do. One of the groups that I joined a Facebook group, and I would post on there my questions, and I got a lot of really cool advice on there. So make sure to not be afraid to ask questions and reach out to people. So that's what helped me a lot, is just reaching out to people. So I will share with you all of the fun pictures that I have. So some of them are videos, and I had some tech issues, so I'm sharing it through iCloud. So this one's kind of small. Actually, here, I'm going to go through the last one really quick. And then, because the last one is really the first, actually, that one is the first step. So this is the layout that I was talking about. So where they come in, the guy didn't finish till late, so it was sunset. But this is, they just spray it all out for you. So here, I'll just put. So
that's kind of cool. So you can see, the size and all of that.
This is the last time where you can really modify things. If you see something, you're like, I don't really like it here. It was a little hard for me, because when I started scheduling these people, so in that sequence sheet that I showed you, it tells you about approximately how many days you should do in between each one. I am a challenge accepted kind of person. And so they, the typical builder right now is about 3 to 6 months. Well, yeah, 3 to 6 months building a pool. There's some of them who do it in 2, but those are the professionals. I mean, I've done 3. I am in no way a professional. I kind of know what I'm doing, but I got my first 2 pools I got done in under 30 days. And this one, because of what I'll share with you in a little bit, took a little bit longer. So I was done in 2 months. But yeah, you get it done faster this way, as well as saving money. So the next thing, sorry, I'm going to quickly go through so I don't ruin any pictures. Okay, next thing is excavation. So this is where they dig your pool. So this is my pool as it got dug. They put these wooden things around called forms. That's whenever they come and they put the concrete in, so it kind of holds it in. But I had kind of what they call a hard dig. So see, mine doesn't look perfectly square. Something's caved in. And that's just because of the ground on there. Sometimes you will get charged extra if you have a hard dig. These excavators were very nice and they did not charge me. But it'd be nice to your subcontractors. They will do nice things and help you.
So it looks like you dug out, what am I looking at? Is that a Baja step? And then
Yeah, so
stairs?
So there's a Baja step. I'm doing a spa too. So that raised thing is a spa.
Oh, okay.
Or not a Baja step. The back thing is a bench. And then in the beginning, let me move it this way. In the beginning is a Baja step.
Nice.
So this is well, so first phase was spray painting it. And then this was the digging of it. So, and then you could see the back wall where we're kind of butting it up against.
Right on.
So this was kind of cool. The kids loved going out there and seeing the excavator, you know, take everything out. So that was pretty fun to watch them do. Mine took like 3 days just because I went down to 6 feet and this is a bigger pool. All in all, it's about 23,000 gallons. The average one is about 17. So this one is a little bit bigger, but I have a huge family, so I wanted a big pool to fit everybody. So there's that. The next step is going to be, it's not letting me switch. Hello. Let me go through it here maybe. Oh, it's because I went all the way through the hello. Okay, so the next step is going to be plumbing. So they come through and they plumb all of your returns, if you have any water features. So on this back wall, can you guys see my mouse? I never know.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so these are called shear. I'm doing shear descents. So it's like those little sheer waterfalls. So I did 3 of them right here because I'm eventually going to have a wall up here that's going to be built out of block. So there's 3, there's that, there's all in my spa, there's all of those cool therapy things that come out.
Nice.
And then in my Baja step, I was going to have bubblers for my toddler. Now, all of these crazy things, not everybody's going to have them, all of these in the middle. So I have what's called end floor cleaning. I love these systems. So instead of having one of those vacuums that goes in my pool, I'll have these little things that pop up, these pop-ups that they spray water. They come up and spray water and they go around and they do the different, they just kind of go around and spray and eventually spray all the water to the bottom, all the dirt to the bottom, so it could go through the filter. This helps, makes brushing easier. It keeps a lot of the dirt off the floor. They're just super cool and I love them. So you don't have to go through these or an upgrade, but that's why there's an excessive amount of plumbing, so much so that that's how much plumbing I have.
Wow.
I know. So it was just fun to, I love looking at this because it looks so organized. So, and then after this, they do electrical. So there's this ground wire, you can barely see it down here, that they put all around the rebar, just around the perimeter, and they tie into the rebar for a ground. And then this right here is going to my pool light, which is over here. And then my pool equipment is around the corner. So, and then there's another one going this way for the spa pool light.
As far as pool equipment is concerned, do you have any advice as far as placement? Is that something that your subcontractors are going to advise you of?
Nope.
Did you decide where the placement was?
Yeah, it was my choice. So one of the things that I did wrong my last pool, or not my last pool, but the first pool that I didn't think of, is so I tucked it away around the side of the house so nobody could see it. I was thinking sight. I wasn't thinking sound.
Noise.
It was
Put it by
behind
the
my
master.
Yeah. And I run it, I run mine all throughout the night. So it runs for like 9 hours throughout the night. So like it's loud. But yeah, so make sure it's away. So this one's by my daughter's bedroom. Not mine, but it's at a point where it's like in between hers and my son's room. So it's not like crazy loud for her. But yeah, so just make sure to not only think of sound, but also the like site. There's some really cool, like my cousin owns this company that does pool. He like covers pool equipment. And he did like a fence for me that looks really cool. So that whenever you're sitting like in this area, so now that this area is done and I have chairs right here, you're not like looking at my pool equipment. So there's a lot of different companies that do that. Generally the most popular thing to do is, if you have it like where you can see it, is they build like an owl wall, a block wall, that you could have stuccoed or painted or whatever. But yeah, so that is something that is going to be up to you. Now, Todd, that's his name, the guy that helped me with the design. He, I asked him a lot of questions, and that was one of the questions, because he was the first person I worked with when he worked for Build Your Own Pool, where, he says, okay, this is generally where it's going to go. Is this where you want it? And, he could give you kind of some advice, but he doesn't know what's inside of my walls. So he did a bedroom. So, but yeah, that's why I ask questions, to those people who are more, experienced than you say. Like, I don't know how many times I told my subcontractors, like, hey, you're the pro, like, what would you advise? Like, don't be afraid to ask that. I grew up like I said, I grew up in construction, and I would say, talking with like the pool builder industry, I've only dealt with like really nice. There's been a couple of bad apples, but like they're all super nice. They all want to educate. And that's what I love about it, is they're all like wanting people to know their trade, and that's great to know. So yeah, so there's that. And then next is going to be rebar. So rebar is pretty much like a skeleton for your pool. This helps reinforce your concrete. And so it all depends on whatever your engineering says to how they do this. So like, I had to have extra bars on this back wall because it's against that retaining wall. But yeah, this is kind of cool. One thing I will tell you, if you have pets, kids, do not let them go around the pool whenever during this point. These are tied. So rebar, the ends of rebar where they cut them, very sharp. And tie them together with this like really thin wire, that's very sharp. I got cut a ton during this pool because I had to get in it. Because what happened at this point of my pool, so I'll tell you my little story now, because this is what happened during this sequence. So I was ready to I remember the day. That's how like traumatizing this was.
I remember the day too.
It was, so building pool, like this was my baby. When pools are built, like when I am in the middle of a pool build, it is my baby. Like, I am super into it. So I get very invested. And what happened, it was March 14th. March 14th, whenever they finished, we're completely done with the rebar, and I was supposed to get my like permitting, or the inspector. So during certain phases of this, you'll get certain inspections to make sure that you're okay to go forward. And in between the rebar phase and the shotcrete, which is the concrete phase, you get an inspection. So I was going to get ready to get that inspection, and on March, so I had scheduled it for the 15th, but I had scheduled on the 15th of March, we had that huge rain where it just rained a ton. I live in a new build home. We have yet to put gutters. And so the side of my house is just a straight shot down. And so I have a pretty big home. And so that big of area, all the water flew down and it caved in that area.
Oh, I remember that day.
I cried. I literally cried. I stood outside and I was just sobbing because this whole wall came down and I couldn't get shotcrete. And shotcrete is, they won't schedule you until you're approved until you have your inspection approved, and they're about 2 to 3 weeks out. So like, wow. I had, and I'm crazy with my schedules, so this totally put me off. But so in order to get this fixed, I had to have the people who did my rebar come in and fix the rebar. I had to have somebody come in and take all this dirt out. I had to get a new pool light because this one on the other side, I didn't take a picture of it, but it cracked and I had to buy a whole new one. Yeah, it cost a bit of money. And so it set me back quite a bit. So like a week later, it was supposed to rain again. And this is where I got cut. I got in there and I threw this tarp over. And so this is like, I was so afraid that it was going to happen like even more and ruin it after they fixed it.
Right.
So I ruined my little like beach umbrella because it got torn with all the rebar, but I went in with straps and just tied this down. So all the water that came off of here would just fall to the bottom of here and it wouldn't cave in the wall.
And it worked.
So it did work, which is great because not only repairing it, but also whenever the concrete people come in, this has to get filled in with something. And the something that has to get filled in with is the concrete, and concrete is expensive. So that's why I was like, man, like it's just like all right here behind this area too, that got messed up, and it was a mess. So yeah.
So don't do that, people.
Yeah, just watch the rain. And since this is a new build house and it was built up, the reason why my ground was a lot different than a lot of other people's is this is fresh fill from when they had to build up to make my house. And my house is, a year and a half old. So, well, no, just a year old actually, because I moved in October. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But next step is the shotcrete. This is super cool to watch. They put this around this blue thing to watch so nothing gets dirty. But look at how cool this is. He's literally holding a hose like a fireman, and it's just spraying out.
Oh,
like
wow.
It's the coolest thing to watch. But so they just have them come and spray all that out, and then they come with trowels and just smooth it all out. So that was a really cool thing to come out and watch them do. And then that is the finished product. So my shell was. Yeah, and so it's kind of nice. So the thing with this too is when you get your shotcrete done, this is going to be with either if you do it by yourself, or if you get it done with a pool builder, you're going to have to go in here and spray it down 3 to 5 times a day. The water helps the concrete just set, so it makes it more durable and not crack. So that was fun getting in there, and my son helped me spray it all down. But yeah, so there's that. And then the next step out after this, so here's just another angle. My yard is just like a mess. Your yard is going to be a mess, but don't fret. People will come in and fix it for you.
That's going to drive me nuts.
Yes. It was, and I had extra mess because of that issue that happened, because they had to take all that dirt outside, mounds of dirt. Yeah, there was just a lot of dirt everywhere and mess, but people end up cleaning it up. So next step is going to be coping. So before I play this, coping is going to be this border that goes around your pool. So I did travertine, they start doing your water line tile, and then they built up this back wall where my water feature was. So here's kind of a little bit. It was longer, but I was like talking in it, and then you see my hand flying everywhere. So I thought it'd be weird to put that in. But yeah, so there's all the tile and everything. And then after they do this, they come and they clean all of this junk that's in the middle. They scrape down all of the visible concrete, because next is going to be where these guys come in and they do the pool finish, which is the plaster pebble tech. If you're like super rich and you can do tile, they'll do that then, like tile all in there, which I wanted to do, but that's just super pricey. But yeah, they'll do all of that, and they'll cut down all of those pipes and kind of give it kind of a little bit more of a finished look. But it's really cool seeing them do this. They have all of these lines suspended through so that the hoses don't touch the ground. So that was fun watching them.
Yeah.
And then your hardscape people will get started on the hardscape. So, and then after this phase, then the next day, a guy comes from that same company that does the pool finish, and he does an acid wash to take that cloudy finish off, and then just throws the hose in. And that's whenever, here's my kids.
Oh, they were excited.
Oh, they were so excited. So we filled up the spa first. That's why you see this. And then it took a long time. It took like almost 2 days to fill our pool. But one thing to know, whether like goes for whether you're building it yourself or have a pool builder, do not ever turn off your water whenever you're filling your pool, because then it'll get a line across, like pretty much a water line, and that won't come off unless you get it as washed.
Oh, interesting. Good tip.
Yeah. So like at night, because it'll be filling overnight, what we did is we turned down the hose so it was still going, but it was just going at a slower pace, so we knew it wouldn't like
Overflow. Yeah.
So so that's what we did. And then I wanted to put these in here. So this is my first pool that I did back in 2017. So that was my first one. This was my second one.
You like straight lines, huh?
I love straight lines. I hate freeform pools. So, yeah. The one thing that I did with mine is see how so you have waterline tile, this tile that goes around your waterline. And then you have like your feature tile. So some people do like stone right here, or something kind of different. And so that's what I did different ones for these last two. And
oh yeah, I got you.
right here. And now I look back at these and I'm like, man, it would have looked really nice if I did that. But yeah, like you learn with everyone. Hopefully you only do one, because my husband's a serial mover, so we move a lot. So hopefully this
Learn from Sonia.
I know, I'm like, and this one was a lot more pricier because of inflation, and things are just more expensive. So trying to save any money that we could. That's why we did this again, even though Katie's keeping me very busy with our real estate business. This was still, so trying to juggle that was a little bit more tough this go around than it was the other two. But yeah, it's still fun to do and fun to see it come together, but I loved it. And then here's my night photo. And then I loved the way that we splurged on doing this like diamond pattern. And then
that's
here's
gorgeous.
The finished product with my waterfalls going in the background and all that.
And that is synthetic in between, right? That's not real grass.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I have so I have synthetic grass. And then on this end over here, in the back left, I'm now in the middle of doing so like right now there's a big pergola back there, and I'm in the middle of doing a like a built-in kitchen out there. It never ends. But yeah, I love the way that this came out. It was super fun, and it saved us a lot of money. So typically on average, they charge about 10% more on top of what the subcontractor charges. So some people save a ton of money. Some people only save, a couple $1,000s. So, you'll get your bids, and you'll try as hard as you can to stay under them. But just remember, like I said before, whenever you go to find bids or find subcontractors and you get their bids, don't always choose the cheapest. Cheapest is
right.
Always. So, find somebody who has, the great reviews and so you don't have to do the most expensive, but sometimes the cheapest isn't always the best.
Right. You definitely get what you pay for. So aside from just the savings in doing it yourself and sort of removing that GC finder's fee, what you called it, aside from another money saving tip that you had said during the process was instead of getting tile, do a different. You had said like tile is really expensive.
Yeah. So like there's some places you see do like tile instead of like pebble, but that's like super pricey.
The entire surface, you mean?
Yeah, the entire
okay.
But it looks super cool. But there's a ton of different kinds of like we always call it Pebble Tech, but Pebble Tech is the brand. It's like, but it's that kind of pebble surface, it's mixed with pebble mixed with plaster in there. One thing that I will say is whenever you do choose it, try to choose like there was the thinner pebble. So there's like if you do a place like CDC carries I think they carry Pebble Tech, but it's like the brand Pebble Tech. There's Pebble Tech and then there's Pebble Sheen. Choose the Pebble Sheen. The Pebble Tech is the thicker rock and it'll cut you up. It's really rough.
I agree. And I love that you gave that advice. One of my pools is a Pebble Tech and one of them is a Pebble Sheen. And the Sheen is definitely a lot smoother. And luckily I had the Sheen when my kid was smaller. The pool that we had with the Pebble Tech that was a little bit more rough. I wouldn't say it was quite as rough as you had just suggested, but I know that there are some, because I've been in pools where I was like, yo, I need to put my flip-flops on. Like, this isn't cool. You know what I mean? And so I totally get what you're saying there. Are there any other things that come to mind as far as money saving tips that you can share aside from kind of those bigger things?
Yeah, so there's so many different options in like pool equipment. Whenever you do pool equipment, so depending on who you go with for your subcontractor, some of them will give you like I have this great guy that he did a few of my sequences. So he did all of my he did my, what was it? My electric, my plumbing, my gas. He did all of that. And he actually, because he does it, he gets like kickbacks from the pool, like from Pentair or Hayward or whoever he does. So he doesn't need to make money off of his customers. So he gave me all of the equipment at cost. So whatever it cost him, that's what I paid. So like if you go with build your own pools, for example, they have their wholesale pool equipment that they say you have to use. You nowhere in your contract with them do you have to use them. The first time I did, it was crazy expensive. And the second time I did, the guy who I used this time, he said, you don't have to use them. I'll get it to you at cost. And I saved like $3,000 with him doing that. Yeah, so that's one thing to look for. Another thing is like to save money is whenever we went through like the pool equipment, there was different options. So you can like, because there's so many different tiers and upgrades. So like with our bubblers, we could have done LED bubblers. We didn't do LED bubblers. I mean, it might look cool, but is it really kind of worth it? One thing I wish I would have splurged on though is I wish I would have done the LED sheer descent. So at night, the waterfall glows.
Oh.
Yeah, so we might change that later on, but that's something that I wish I would have done. Make sure to stay on top of your subcontractors when it comes to you telling them what you want them to do, because for them to correct it is just going to be pricey and they're going to blame you. And you just make sure, like for this pool, whenever we're talking about Pebble Sheen and Pebble Tech, I chose a Pebble Sheen. And then whenever I sent it to the guy, he was saying, oh, there's all these other upgraded colors. And so I was going through, but I wasn't looking at the tabs where it modified them. So I have Pebble Tech. It feels like Pebble Tech. I could have sworn I put Pebble Sheen, but it feels rougher than my other pools.
Oh no.
So it's not too bad. And it's beautiful. Like he put these extra little glass beads in that makes it really pretty. And he included that for me, but it feels rougher. So I think I might have gotten Pebble Tech, and it was probably my fault because I was in a hurry. So, but that's one thing, is take your time and look through these bids and look through, like if you want something included, make sure it's included in there. Another big thing, if you can, is to pay cash. If you can pay cash, and sometimes they'll let you do check, but mostly cash. They don't charge you that credit card fee. I was getting that some of them charge like 3% on top of what you're already paying, and that could add up. So paying cash, looking at you, like I said, looking at your different pool equipment and seeing where you can need the upgrades. There's different kinds of, like you could do like a heat pump, but I had a spa, so that was kind of, it doesn't heat it as much as it needs to be from what I was told. I'm not a pool expert, so during my research it said that my spa wouldn't get like I keep it whenever we do it at like 100 to 101, and some people said that it wouldn't get that high with the heat pump, so I had to get an actual gas heater. There's electric heaters, there's solar, there's so many different kinds, so just find what works for you. We converted to a salt pool about a month ago, so we added that in. There's certain things that we splurged on. Even making your pool like a foot smaller will save you quite a bit of money in materials that you could splurge on other things. So kind of weighing little things. We splurged on, like I said, the landscaping. So we cut other things that we really wanted. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, it's beautiful. You did a fantastic job. I love the landscaping. I mean, that design is just, it looks so pretty. So nice job there. And like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you're open for people to, I mean, obviously what you do is you sell houses, right? But
Mhm.
you, with that, we get to do so many other cool things that have to do with houses. And this just so happens to be something that you really felt passionate about, which I love. So are you cool with people reaching out to you if they got questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Reach out to me. And even if you're, like that's one thing too, is once you go through this process and say that you have to sell your house and buy a new one, this process and knowing the ins and outs and how it's built will make you buy it. It'll help you also buy a home with a pool. Because you say, okay, this is it. I remember this being this. And that also helps a lot. So there's a lot of pros to doing it this way. Make sure that you have enough time for it. And if you like the whole scheduling of it and just seeing it go from, start to finish, it's definitely something to consider saving money. You'll get it done faster than a regular pool builder will. So there's that. So I don't know. It's fun. I love doing it. So yeah, any questions? Message me. I'll love to answer them.
Yay.
It's a fun thing I love to do now. So
Well, you did such a great job. And do me a favor when we get off, if you would send me a link to that spreadsheet, and then I'll link it in the show notes. So anybody that wants to, that watches this video, that wants to use that really awesome spreadsheet that you put together can do so. And I think that would be super cool. Thank you so much, Sonia with Team EvoAZ.
of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course, always good to talk to you. If you guys out there are interested in any of our previous Live and Learns, I think we've done a few hundred now. So seriously, like there's so much information out there. We have so many really cool mamas that are very knowledgeable, have certain expertise in certain areas, and they're so gracious to share that with us. Hop on over to our YouTube channel. It is at MOMnation AZ. No, that's the group we're in right now. I'm so sorry. The handle is at MOMnation USA on our YouTube. And then just scroll down a little bit. You'll see the Live and Learn playlist. You'll see Sonia's video on there as the latest one. If you are more of the audio version, you bike a lot, hike a lot, walk a lot, drive a lot, whatever the case may be, you prefer the podcast style, you can hop on over to your favorite podcast platform, do a quick search for MOMnation Talk Radio, and there we are. You can connect with us, get notifications, download episodes, all the things. Thank you so much, Sonia.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.